Hey guys, what I'd like to do in this video is show you this DIGITNOW HD video capture card. This can be used to record footage from your camera, games console, or even a laptop up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. It's not actually in this box right now because I'm using it. It's actually connected to my PC down there, and connected to the capture card is my Sony a6500. So what you're seeing right now is the DIGITNOW HD capture card working. This is what it can do. So it was actually the company that sent it out to me for review, and I spent a few hours with it today, and I spent another hour with it there, testing footage from Call of Duty and playing around with the colours, etc. So I've got a good idea as to what I like and what I don't like. Now obviously whenever a company sends me out a product, I'm always grateful, but the opinions that I will give you are my own, and I'm going to do this review backwards. I want to talk about footage, and then I'll go backwards and show you the device and show you the box, etc. And I'll say right off the bat, this is a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's not going to be as good as an Elgato or a Magewell or anything like that. Devices which I use all the time and I'm very happy with. This is kind of rough around the edges. It does work though, it does work. I'm using it right now and it does work, but the audio you're hearing isn't coming from my camera, but I'll show you that now. So I'm using the audio from my camera, that's what you're listening to, and it's not great, but that's not this capture card's fault. It's not the fault of the DIGITNOW that the audio from my camera is bad. That's just what you get from cameras, but that does show you that the audio does work. Now, I have found sometimes that the audio was kind of skipping sometimes, but I've reset that. It seems to be working okay now. And I set this up today, and although it's called DIGITNOW, when you connect it to your computer, it's called Suntech PVR. Now, interestingly, when you connect it to OBS, it's coming up as UHD capture. Now, UHD stands for ultra high definition, which is normally associated with 4K or 8K. This can only do 1080p, so yeah, just one of those weird Chinese product things where they get the names wrong. But yeah, there's 3 different names for this. Different names in OBS, a different name on your PC, and then a different name on the box. And I'll just say, with regards to the footage, I think the footage is quite good, but I will also say this doesn't seem to be calibrated correctly per se when you set it up. With the other devices I've got, you just kind of plug it in and it normally looks good. And then you can tweak a few things in OBS, tweak the saturation and the brightness. I'm finding it hard to get the colors correct on this. I need to set the brightness and saturation. Maybe if I spend more time with it, I will get that. But one of the things I have noticed today is that I've not been able to get the colors correct, either through my camera or through my laptop when I'm recording game footage. That could be a problem with me. It could be. But I tried to keep everything the same. And by that I mean, I still have the USB cable and the HDMI cable in here. And the reason why I've not used the one that was provided with this capture card is because I didn't want any kind of problems there. Because I've already got a setup that uses capture cards, I wanted to just use the existing cables that I know work, so that if there was any problems, I couldn't say it was a problem with their cable. Because it's easy to replace a USB cable or an HDMI cable. It's not easy to replace the device itself. But with regards to the quality coming from the camera, I think if I tweak the colors better and I mess around with it, I think this could be a good device, and it could be very useful for Skype calls and using it as a webcam or recording videos for YouTube. You can use this to transform a camera into a webcam. So with regards to that, it's really good. But this markets itself, if you can see it here, it's very bright there, but you can see this markets itself as an HD video game capture. Now, I will say right off the bat, you can probably see it there, there's not an HDMI out port on this device. This is like my Magewell, and the Magewell is very like the Elgato Cam Link. You've got the USB power, USB 3.0, and then you've got an HDMI in. So you put your source into the device, and that's it. There isn't an HDMI out, and the reason I'm saying that is that you do need HDMI out if you want to record games. Technically, you don't, because you can record footage like I did today, but the HDMI out port is used to output the signal from the game to a monitor or to a television or something like that. And that's the problem I have had with this today. Now, with regards to the footage, it did record okay. There was, you know, the audio recorded correctly and all that, but the colors didn't look good. It kind of looked like the resolution was recorded at a lower resolution, but it just didn't look good. Now I pushed the brightness up and I changed a few other settings, and I think it looks a little bit better now. But likewise, like I was saying with the camera, I don't have the colors set up correctly yet, and I do think I'd have to mess around with the colors to make it look a lot better. But it does work. You can technically record game footage from this DIGITNOW capture card, and that's what I did today with my gaming laptop. What I will say though is, because it doesn't have an HDMI output, I couldn't use it through my monitor. I had to look at it through OBS. So if you're using XSplit or Elgato's capture software, or OBS to record the game, then you have to play your game through your recording software. And it was horrific. It was very difficult for me to actually play the game, and it was even more difficult for me to actually kill anyone in Call of Duty because I just kept getting killed. There was a delay of audio. It felt like a second, and there was also a delay with the input. It was just really, really laggy, incredibly laggy. Now, that is something that you can't have when you're recording game footage. You just can't. And it's something which, you know, if you're looking at something like an Elgato HD60S, etc., the low latency devices, you know, latency is important. You don't want any kind of lag between the games console and your recording software. Now, when you're recording something, if it's still buffering and it's syncing the audio and video correctly, it doesn't matter later. But if you're live streaming, that makes it unusable. But you just can't play games with this. You can't, because the game there's too much lag with the audio and with your input and what you see on your PC. So I'm trying not to make this too much of a negative. The reason being, this company has stuck game capture on it because they realize that, you know, the whole game streaming thing, the live streaming is really big now with Twitch and different things like Mixer and all that. So they're obviously trying to market, you know, the device to those people, but it's very misleading. Consider this an Elgato Camlink alternative, or consider this a Magewell alternative. This is not an alternative for recording games, despite the fact that it can. So what I'd like to do at this point is put in my Magewell again, and then we'll take a closer look at the device, and well, maybe you'll get a better understanding as to what this is all about. So this is the DIGITNOW HD video capture card, and it has a very simple design. HDMI in, USB 3.0 to your computer. There's a blue and red flashing light there, and it's all contained within this metal enclosure. But it's no surprise that I do like this design and build quality because I have seen it before. These are the USB Magewell capture cards that I use. I use this one for my main camera. I use this one downstairs sometimes. And, well, they've not just been inspired by the Magewell. They have completely 100% just copied it. It's identical in every single way. Oh, China. But yeah, it's definitely the Magewell design here. That's what they've done. They've just got the same enclosure. And to be fair, I realise they've just copied the design here, but the build quality does seem to be almost identical. This thing is solid. So yes, they've copied the Magewell for the design. So with regards to the box, as you would expect from anything coming from China, there are a few mistakes. No need drive, true PNP. Okay, so you don't need software. They're saying that it's plug and play. That's a good thing, and it's true. This is plug and play. They're saying here 1080p 60 Hz. What they mean is 60 frames per second. And yeah, high-speed transmission bandwidth. Yeah, not the most exciting boxes. But I will say the overall package is quite good. You've got a manual in English, German, Spanish, Italian, and French, and it's pretty good. You know, it's not going to tell you anything you don't know already if you're used to recording things through OBS, but it's got instructions for using it as a webcam, for using OBS, and there's a page on XSplit as well, and they just talk about buffering and setting it up. It works quite well. We've also got an HDMI cable, and we've got a USB 3.0 cable. Now, I've kept them in the bags because I didn't want to introduce any differences, any changes. I wanted to keep the same setup so that I could compare it to my other devices, but it is very good that they do include these cables in the box. That is very good. That is always good to see. So I'm back recording with my Sony a6500, my main camera. but I'm no longer recording through the DIGITNOW HD video capture card. I'm actually using my Magewell capture card down there. So the footage will look a little bit different. The colors will be a little bit different, but you can be the judge as to whether this video quality looks better than what you saw before. My personal opinion is that the footage from the Magewell looks better than through this, but like I said before, I do need to kind of calibrate the colors and tweak things a little bit. Out of the box, my other capture cards seem to perform better, but this one, out of the box, it just didn't seem to work well. The colors just seemed a little bit too dark. The saturation just wasn't right. Everything just looked a little bit out of line. It just didn't seem to work correctly. So I think if I spent a little bit more time with this, tweak the colors, etc., it would look a little bit better. So one of the things I haven't talked about yet is price. Prices do obviously go up and down, but right now, here in the UK, it costs about £150 to buy this capture card. It's about $180 in the USA. And I'll leave a link to the official website. This shows it at $170, but this has got some important information such as this, which I've highlighted. A transfer rate of 300 to 350 megabytes per second. But I'll leave a link to this. You can check out the specifications, etc. I will say, talking about specs, that CPU usage with this is quite low. Most of the processing is handled here, and it doesn't seem to get too hot. So yeah, in that regard, it does seem quite good. So one of the big questions I always get, and it's a question that always comes up when I do a review such as this: should I buy it? Should I buy the DIGITNOW HD capture card? I would say for most people, no, but it depends. Now, the reason I'm saying that is this is not as good as my Magewell cards. It's not as good as my Elgato Cam Link, and I don't think it is as good as my Elgato HD60S or S Plus. It is being marketed as a game capture device, and it can technically do it, but it's very poor at it, you know, because you have to run everything through your computer. You've not got an HDMI out port. You've not got any mic port for another microphone for recording game chat and anything like party chat. This should not be considered a game capture device, despite the fact it can do it. And the footage I did capture, it was a little bit laggy. It was just unplayable. So it's not a game capture device. It's a video capture device. But if you consider this as something that can transform your camera into a webcam or something you can use to record videos on YouTube, it's actually quite good. That is. And I do say this. This is not as good as my Magewell. It's not as good as my Elgato. But it does work. It does capture your audio. It does capture your footage. And you do have to mess about with the settings. It is plug and play though, but you do have to mess about with the settings to get it right. And that's something I do have to do, but it does work. So if you consider this as simply a way to transform a camera into a webcam or something that you can record footage from your camera onto your PC or laptop, I think this is good. But the big sticking point here as to why you shouldn't buy it would be price. So if this is available in your region and it's significantly cheaper than a Magewell or an Elgato equivalent, such as a Cam Link or an HD60S, well, if this is significantly cheaper, you might want to give this a try, and you might save a lot of money doing it because it does everything that you need. The problem is that right now, this is pricing itself at a higher price point, very close to what these devices sell at. But every market is different and every situation is different. Here in the UK, game capture cards are very rare right now because of the pandemic. And I've seen Elgato selling for much higher than what they normally retail at. I mean, I could sell the devices I'm not using and make a huge profit. That's how much prices are going up because of what's going on. I think that when the pandemic ends, so if you're watching this in the future, it will be over, but when the pandemic ends and prices come back down to normal and you can get capture devices easily, my hope is that this will come down in price as well, and this will be a cheap option. And if this is significantly cheaper than other alternatives, you might want to give it a try. But remember, it's not as good. I don't think it's as good. So bear that in mind. But many thanks to the company for sending it out for review. I always like trying these kind of things out. But you can be the judge, guys. You've seen the footage. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think of the DIGITNOW, which also was calling itself something else. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. Leave a comment below, and I hope you found this video useful. Until next time, guys, take care.